Hello and welcome to the second day of the Luis Muñoz Rivera Tech Talk, talking about the youth revolution.
Now we're going to start with Ivana Ramos that it's going to talk about the pause of progress. Let's give it a round of applause.
What does it mean to be revolutionary in today's world? Throughout history, young people have always been the engine of revolutions, whether in the streets, in the arts, or in the corridors of power. Young people have always been at forefront, demanding a better world. Today, however, the revolution is taking on new shapes, powered by technology and creativity. Social media platforms have become tools for activism, allowing youth to organize, mobilize, and bring global attention to things that wouldn't even have gotten noticed. Environmental movements, human rights campaigns, and racial and gender equality are not just confined for specific regions or communities. From school strikes to viral hashtags, young people are not just participating in the change, but they are creating it. But it's not about the tools, it's about the mindset. Young people are redefining what it means to be a change maker. In the past, revolutions were often loud, aggressive, and destructive. But today, young people are showing us that revolutions can also be peaceful, powerful, innovative, and inclusive. When talking about innovation, in every corner of the world, young minds are reimagining what is possible. They are redefining industries from renewable energies to healthcare and from technology to education. The revolution today is driven not just by protest, but by progress, by young entrepreneurs, scientists, and visionaries who are not just waiting for the world to change, but are creating solutions that are going to shape the future. As I look around today, I'm filled with hope. I see a spark of possibility in the eyes of every young person. I see a generation that is not just waiting for the world to change, but is actively making that change. You are the pulse of progress. You are what it means to be revolutionary. And for your efforts, the world will not just be different, it will be better. Thank you.
Great speech.
Wow.
She portrayed herself awesomely.
That was great. That was a really nice speech.
Now,
We're going to start like
if we
doing a
could
new-
get her for an interview. Great speech, Ivana.
how
So,
you feel about it.
Yeah. How did you feel about the speech?
I think I chose this topic because I see how the world is changing and how young people are redefining what is possible and they are just trying to make the world a better place.
Thank you very
Awesome.
much.
Thank you very much. You did a great job.
Oh,
So now we have Sara Christina with Breaking the Mold, How Youth is Rewriting the Rules of Change. Round of applause, please.
How are young people changing the world in new ways? Young people aren't waiting for traditional governments or organizations to make changes. They are taking actions themselves. For example, they are using creative and innovative methods to solve problems. The old rules don't apply to them anymore. They are taking actions themselves. Uh, Today, they are using social media and technology to, sorry, they are using social media and technology to create, to connect and mobilize. For example, young people use Twitter and Facebook to organize protests and bring down big governments. They didn't need the help of traditional leaders. They do it with the available things to them to make a real change. Um, for example, my favorite artist right now, Milo J. He started making music at only 14 years old, and in that age, he started making music for his friends in the neighborhood. The time came when he made a hit without, not like all artists without bad words, with bad words and ugly things. He did it without ugly lyrics and in a very innovative way, talking about the beat and the way he communicates with his voice. Today, he has 50 million monthly listeners on Spotify, and in the age of 18 years old. In conclusion, young people are changing the world in new ways. They are not waiting for permission from governments or big organizations to, to make changes. Youth are showing us that they can make a real difference. They remind to us that the future is shaped by those who think outside the box and brave enough to take action. Thank you.
Great, Sara. Thank you. Truly a very remarking and powerful topic.
It is inspiring how you think. Like that's a nice point of view. Please let's give you an interview.
So, Sara, what inspired you to talk about like standard and talk about what you talked about, like breaking the mold?
Um, this generation is changing the world in his way. And I choose this topic because I like how they transmit the things using other rules, like creating rules, not like others, using the old rules about the other generations.
Very important. That's a very important thing to say.
Thank you.
Thank you. You did a great job. Have a great day.
Now we have Ivana Sanchez with the talk about the key to the future. Let's give it a round of applause.
Good morning. Imagine this. You wake up tomorrow and the world has completely changed. It's just not because of takeover weight, but because of a revolution in a massive shift of how we live, connect, and work with each other. Sounds crazy, right? Well, here's the thing. These kind of revolutions are already happening. And imagine the world without internet. Like no texting memes to your friends at 2 a.m. Crazy. I personally think that it would change and how revolutions, they can either be better or they make more problems. For example, these revolutions, like maybe you can say, for example, like the social media influencers. Social media influencer wasn't a thing 10 years ago, and people change and adapt and make it into a whole new career. I think it will be better when like the world is going to change and the people who thrive are the ones who are going to roll with it. These revolutions have power, and it's just something that happens to us. It's not something that will happen. We can either make a change, we can make it better, we can either make it more smarter. I think nowadays we have really much tools like the AI. It's getting more efficient, and if we try to make it more and more like to our favor, we have to make these new future revolutions in our favor. It will be better for everybody, and I think that we, the next generation, can actually make this work in our favor. I the same will happen with new technology or new challenges. Uh, it's all about how we approach it and how we can either make it better. And thank you.
Thank you, Ivana.
Another inspiring topic. So,
We
yeah,
would love to do an interview.
yeah, it was very inspiring about how we shape our future. So then that's my question. How do you think we're responsible for shaping the future?
Because we cannot like stay where we can like we can make it better, because it's just not how it will happen, like how I said. It's something that we create, and if we try to make how the new tools we have like AI, we can either make them better, and the future can actually better, and future revolutions, they can either be more smarter.
Thank you very much. It was truly an impacting topic you talked about. Thank you.
Our next is De La Supron with the title of Yay 2K, a fashion rule. Sorry. Now we have Eva Morales with the talk title, The Spark of Being a Kid. Let's give it a round of
Round of
applause.
applause.
Okay. The spark of being a kid represents something deeper than just playfulness
Teacher
and
Dia.
innocence. It's the creativity, the wonder, the freedom to explore the world without any judgment. I remember when I was younger, I used to dance and sing on a table facing the park in front of my apartment, and my dad used to sneak up on me and watch me, and I would get embarrassed. I used to climb every door frame in the house. I used to play hide and seek, but the Dominican version, I don't know if you know it, La Casita de Chocolate. At 13, I would wear the most crazy outfits. I would wear neon tops with crazy pants, and I didn't care who saw me, and I think no one would care either. But I think this generation, something feels different. And I know you feel it. I know they say every generation is different, but I feel like this generation is like they are giving a sprint towards adulthood instead of embracing the joy and the fulfillment that makes childhood. And we as individuals are developing ourselves in those stages. So we don't need to skip that because that's an important part of ourselves. I think that this generation have a full access to all sorts of content, so it's a little difficult because in previous generation, yeah, we had internet, but it wasn't like a daily thing in our lives, or like we didn't understand it as much as today because social media today is giving a sense of pressure to fit in, to like keep up with trends, to be more mature. Like 90-year-old girls are doing my makeup routine and my skincare routine as if they were 17-year-old teenagers. So I really think kids are really losing the essential spark of being a kid. So I want to encourage all of you to just slow down and to take a step back because childhood is a really important stage of life. And I think that those mistakes that you make and you learn from them, those happiness moments that you have, like all of that is an important part of your life. And this message isn't only for you guys, the kids, it's for the parents, the teachers, it's for society as well, because we all have a role in supporting and protecting each other and protecting the idea of truly living every stage of youth, because I think childhood is a precious part of life, and I think that every stage deserves to be lived, not skipped. Thank you.
Great, awesome speech. Thank God we didn't skip her because she really gave an empowering speech. So now, Eva Morales.
So we have a question for you. How did you think about this topic? Because it's very important.
Yeah, I think that my sisters and being around them makes me like think about how I used to be at those like ages, and it just like doesn't make sense that they are now just so addicted to social media and all these social things. And like at that age, I will wear like crazy things, and I will play with my dolls, like really crazy. So
Yeah, I really agree with you.
It's
Thank you.
crazy to think about it, as you said. Like now, the youth, it's so advanced. It's so advanced. Like we don't think about it. But great, you did a great job. Thank you very much, Eva. So now we have Sufron Dilan or Dilan Sufron with Y2K, a fashion reap. A round of applause, please.
So, when we often, when we think about fashion, we often picture runways, haute couture, and meticulously styled models. But what if I told you that the revolution came not only from the designers, but from the paparazzi and celebrities' lives as well? I mean, think about it. Paris Hilton, Britney Spears, Lindsay Lohan, and further on Kim Kardashian, these women became the trend. They were the trendsetters. This further changed how we see today identity, culture, and style. And that's where fashion changed. It was no longer confined to the runway. It was a 24/7 spectacle, a TV show of sorts. Now I want to get into some of the trends that made the 2000s. Let's talk about low-rise jeans, for example. This was no high fashion look. This was a normal look for maybe Christina Aguilera and Britney Spears, but they were the ones who made this look iconic. Uh, They basically were pushing the envelope for everybody. It wasn't so much about what models were wearing at fashion shows, it was more about who got photographed in them. All this goes to say that the 2000s may have been 2 decades ago, but its impact on fashion is still palpable today. So anytime you're scrolling through your Instagram feed, remember where it all came from, the 2000s, where a paparazzi could make a simple look become a global trend. Thank you.
Well, great speech. Definitely a topic we haven't heard before. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
that's very,
fashion. That's
yeah.
something like the youth portrays itself by fashion.
And it's also we need to like talk about nowadays
Yes,
because
because fashion changes like so suddenly nowadays. So if you could come around,
yeah. Hi,
great speech.
Hi.
we
Thank
would
you.
like to ask you who inspired you to like talk about this.
Well, first of all, I'm really passionate about fashion design because I want to be a fashion designer myself. But yeah, my inspirations were, as I said, Lindsay Lohan, Britney Spears, and other designers as well as Alexander McQueen. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, thank you. Really, this is like the fashion you talked about really is an impactive, like a revolution that nowadays we need to talk about.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Another round of applause for our fashion designer. So speeches are so good, you're left speechless. What's happening
Yeah.
with you? It's so good today. Now we have Rodrigo Gomez with From Faith to Forgetfulness. A round of applause.
Hello, good morning. Well, today I'm going to talk about a topic that is as relevant as the day of today. It's a historical event, many historical events that marked before in our past. And it's about how Catholicism was put into America in a way of obviously Spanish conquerors entering America, like Cristobal Columbus and the two Catholic kings, like King Ferdinand, and obviously Queen Elizabeth, and many other social models, right? And how Catholicism has been really part of revolution, and how has it really been implemented into our country, and not only our country, like in many places in Latin America, uh, and how it rebels obviously on justice, love, and things that we really want, things that we really wish, like love, justice, liberation, and many things that youth tries to find today, for example. Things that they try to visualize, not in Catholicism, but obviously in other concepts and other ideologies, right? And they don't find it at finals. Why? Because it is not the thing, right? And it is sad to see so many young people decide to obviously follow incorrect paths, make bad decisions in their lives. Why? Because they obviously tried to find love, tried to find justice in many things, but they didn't have the correct ideology, right? And you may say that it is not the correct one, right? But for me, it is at least because it changed me as the one who I am at today, right? And many people also, not only me, obviously. And like youth has been disconnected from Catholicism in a part, and it is sad. Why? Because it shows these things that people really want. And yeah, I obviously wanted to reconnect and say uh, parts of how we can reconnect with Catholicism as youth. And it is obviously taking core parts, like talking about Catholicism, talking about its good things and everything. And obviously viewing core models, like for example, Saint Oscar Romero, and obviously a indigenous peasant like Saint Juan Diego, a person who which Our Lady of Guadalupe appeared to 4 occasions, right? And it is sad to see like how low information is put into the youth of today and how they decide bad decisions. And it is scientifically proven that people with faith have more good decisions than people that don't. that do not have. And so, in conclusion, I want to say that we should like reform, I think, and we should speculate and see what things we follow, and if they really literate to the love and the justice we want for all, or if it's just another path, not like Catholicism. Thank you.
Inspiring. It really does look like faith is like a part of him.
Yeah, that part of reflectiveness was really important to shout out.
And more that faith molds many of us. Now we have Rodrigo with us. So first of all, Rodrigo, what does faith for you represent in the modern world as we see it like evolve and change?
For me, faith, it is obviously a decision at first, because you decide in what you believe, right? And secondly, it really is a force apart from the decision. People with faith really have a force into them, a fire into them. And that just makes them really not depart from it, right?
Yeah.
And that just makes like people so intrigued, right? Into many things and protect them, to really protect and replenish them. And to show it to them. Because my faith, for example, I want to show it to others, obviously. Because of how this fire I have it in me, I obviously don't want to keep it for myself. I want to put it to others as well, so they can see the love and the justice I have for, like, I want to have, right? And yeah, it really, the world really involves obviously in various aspects, but faith for me is one that obviously everyone should have.
It's really important how you tied it to forgiveness. It's very touching matter.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Rodrigo. You did a great job. Have a great day. So now we have Valeria Furt with her talk title, From Fiction to Reality. A round of applause, please.
First of all, I want you to think back to the last movie you watched. Maybe it was an action-packed thriller, a feel-good comedy, or even a suspenseful horror flick that left you wide awake long after the credits rolled. Whatever the genre, it probably sparked a range of emotions such as fear, joy, sadness, or excitement. But films are more than just emotional experiences. They have the power to shape the way we think, act, and even see ourselves in the world around us. But first of all, I wanted to talk about some great influence that I believe are amazing for the young generations. First of all, Robert Downey Jr. He's the perfect example of perseverance because he was in jail, and not only that, he had a problem with drugs. And despite that, he's now one of the most famous actors in the world, even with an Oscar. Another example is a woman who has been on the top 3 of the most famous movies in history: Avatar 1 and 2 and Avengers Endgame. Not only that, but she is Dominican, an amazing example of hard work. I'm talking about no other than Zoe Saldana. But let's get back to the films. Their interpretation of films differs significantly between younger and older generations due to variation in cultural context, social attitudes, and media habits. Younger viewers are more drawn to contemporary issues like mental health, and diversity, often seeing films as a social commentary. With their familiarity with the internet and social media, they are adept at recognizing nuanced messages and plot complexities. They also have higher expectations for representation and inclusivity, and are more critical of outdated stereotypes. Films are more than just a source of entertainment. They can be a powerful tool for shaping young minds and inspiring positive change. By introducing diverse perspectives, portraying positive role models, and highlighting critical social issues, movies can help young viewers develop empathy, creativity, and awareness that can help redefine how young people see and interact with the world and themselves. On the other hand, and despite their potential for good, films can also have a negative impact on young audiences. Exposure to violence, risky behaviors, and harmful stereotypes can shape perceptions in unhealthy ways. In conclusion, cinema has always been a powerful medium that shapes and reflects society, and you guys have the power to decide whether you want them to make a good or bad impression of a good or bad influence in your life and the lives of others. Thank you.
A very round of applause for Valeria. She did talk about resemblance and creativity and other stuff, and I think that we should really apply that in the modern day.
Yeah. It
So
was an awesome speech. She was giving a lot of good samples of how we could implement it in our lives.
truly, truly impactful. Well, now we cut to our break.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. About 5 minutes. Uh, yeah. So stay tuned.
Okay, seventh graders.
And we're back. So before we go with Mariana Gotera, let's talk about some of the recent and more impactful TED Talks. What like
I
what have
really
we
like the
seen?
one that was the spark of being a kid and like that essence. That's
That
something we
that
need
was
to talk
truly
nowadays.
inspiring. Another one was with Rodrigo and the faith and
Yeah,
forgetfulness. I thought that was very impactful too.
about sharing knowledge.
Yeah, sharing what you are, what you think. I think it was very important for him to talk about that today. But now we go back with the program. We have Mariana Gotera, friend of the show, with I want to know the country my parents tell us about. A round of applause, please.
Have you ever thought about how you will feel if you have to move from your country because of someone else? Well, that is the case of many Venezuelans who have to leave our country in search of a better life. In every country, there is a Venezuelan who leaves his mark on each of the people that he met on his new home, which will never really be his home. For many years, we have been living in places where we don't belong, and no matter how much they make us feel at home, we never truly get used to it. And it's very sad to return to our country and feel like a stranger, feel like we are not in our place, feel like we don't know anything or we can't remember anything. We were silent for several years, but thanks to the injustice that we have experienced in the last month, we reawakened that feeling of struggle and freedom that we have kept for a long time, especially the youth. Hundreds of teenagers have been unjustly imprisoned because in prison in prison just because they want to be free. They want to be free. And they are accused of terrorism only because they want justice from for the people who are no longer here or have to leave the country and they are no longer with them. The government tries to silence us, but the more they silence us, the louder we shout, the more we feel, and the more we hear each other. There is nothing that represents more a Venezuelan than his desire to be free and their struggle. Us, we, the young people, have only been able to know and see and live a country full of silence, and terror. For us, it is time to be able to enjoy what our parents tell us about from the wonderful country that was Venezuela. Thank you.
Round of applause. She really felt what she was talking about, truly.
Yeah, and also hear that point of view was really impactful
Yeah,
for
from a
us.
person that has heard the stories of her own country. That's very impactful.
Yeah.
So, Mariana,
Hi, Mariana. How are you
great
doing?
speech, friend of the show. So, we have a question. Like, do you think the youth could change the current state of Venezuela in the future?
Yeah, the youth have a lot of like they want to be free, and I think they can do it. I think this time is different, and with Maria Corina Machado and all is happening in Venezuela, they can make a change.
Yeah, we all support that. Thank you very much for that
Thank you,
comment.
Mariana.
Your
Great speech.
speech was amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So now we go with
Maria Fernanda Martinez with the talk title, The Race of a New Generation. Let's give it a round of applause.
Imagine a world in which the voices of millions of young people are demanding change and are no longer just voices or whispers in the background. We are creating that world, and it's taking place everywhere in the streets, in classrooms, even in the media. We are the new generation, a generation raised in a time of crisis and chaos, and with climate disaster, racial injustice, economic inequalities, but also a generation that's empowered by the ability to connect, learn, and act. And we're not waiting for the future. We're just shaping it right now. We're redefining what leadership looks like. I'm sure most of you have heard names like Malala, Greta Thunberg, Alton Peltier. These names stand out because they demonstrate what happens when young voices refuse to be silenced, and what happens and how Speaking up is the first step towards change in how age is no longer a barrier when your cause is based on fairness. What's different now is that our power doesn't come just from one person. It's global, it's collective. Through social media, we can organize movements that break through borders and in time zones. We're not just asking for change, we're creating it. Whether we're striking for climate change justice or advocating for mental health reform or designing the next breakthrough in renewable energy, we're proving that our ideas and our solutions matter. We're no longer aiming to be the leaders of tomorrow. We are the leaders of today. And remember, be the change you want to happen. Thank you.
Great speech. Great method of portraying your ideas.
Yeah, can we like change the world with those points of view? So
Left
we
you
would like to
speechless.
do you an interview.
Yes.
And the question would be, what do you think is the biggest obstacle for this generation?
Like older generations, because people are really slow to accept change. So I think the younger generation is having new and fresh ideas can be difficult to them to accept. So it's an obstacle.
Definitely.
Yeah, I really agree with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
That was a
much.
nice speech.
So now we have another friend of the show, Leonardo Gotera, talking about Venezuela and its youth.
Hi. This time feels different. What changed? Why now? Anyone else in a democratic country could expect that their election got as usual. But for the Venezuelan people, wasn't that case. It's no news that the Venezuelan government, since Chavez, is not the same. The corruption, the communism, and the socialism has been destroyed for years the golden era of Venezuela, where my parents and my grandparents grew, from the 50s to the mid 70s. The old nationalization, the old nationalization, the minimum wage of $1,500, the infrastructure development, and the metallurgical companies were the boom for a South American country. Since the first Chavez government, the youth of the country has been fighting for their future. But at first, you could find a lot of people that believe in him. Eventually, along the years, it became the reincarnation of socialism. He convinced or manipulated the people that this was the key to success. But the working class suffered the most, and naturally, protest ensued. However, they were not only silenced by the government. Could you believe that also by friends and their own family? This continued happening through years. But something started to change when people realized that the economic crisis was a reality, when the health system downfall, and the people started to migrate. Until 2013, Hugo Chavez died. People thought that this would be the freedom of Venezuela, but we were wrong. Nicolás Maduro won the 2014 elections, but people didn't stay silent. People didn't stay silent. The youth of the country protest, but they were repressed by the government. Everything started to fail, and the energy problems and the water scarcity marked those years. So, hope is the last thing that you lost. Maria Corina Machado, the bravest woman of the century, decided to make a radical change, win the election without fraud and with the people hope. So, why now feels different compared to the other election protests? Well, now the Venezuelan people know and have the evidence that of the fraud, and people know what they deserve. Everyone deserves freedom, free speech, and optimism in living conditions. More of the 19% of the population is out of Venezuela. Is out of Venezuela. And more of the half want to get back. So, Maria Corina Machado is the person behind this movement, but the youth and all Venezuelans are the people that can make that change. So maybe not now, maybe not tomorrow, or the next day, but soon. This time feels different. Thank you.
Wow,
Great job.
how impactful. I really feel that even though you're not in your like the country you were born, you can still make an impact and feel supportive.
And from a person that has heard stories and had experiences. So now we have Leonardo, who did a great job.
Thank you.
We have a question for you, and it's how do you think the youth could change Venezuela?
Well, that's an interesting question, but I think that the youth can change the Venezuela is continue how it goes. Why? Because with this all the movement and all of this, the protests that happened in the recently elections, uh, me like outside person of Venezuela is like I feel this. This is different. This time is different.
Mhm.
So is there the people and the youth is making a change. So they need to continue doing what the people are doing and be patient. Always they need to be patient. But I think we are in a good way and we can do it. And we can make it.
Well, great speech, Leonardo. We definitely look forward to seeing the situation in Venezuela change.
We
Great.
have a lot of faith in Venezuela to change, but thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're a great job. So now,
Now we have Omar Encarnacion with the talk title, The Evolution of Revolutions Through the Years. Let's give it a round of applause.
Often, when we mention some grand historical events, we and revolutions, we think of like the civil rights movement and other more old versions of the revolution. But today, I'm going to talk about the more recent and the last century revolutions, like the Civil Rights Act movement. In the Civil Rights Act movement, figures like Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks challenged some protestants and some other people with powerful speeches and peaceful protests. So they c- so they can get better. Digital revolution. When we talk about digital revolution, we talk about the new advent of the personal computers and how different companies like Apple and Microsoft have changed our lives. Also, a more recent example is the climate change revolution. Often, activists like Greta Thunberg have led some students of some universities, colleges, and schools to start to act, and not only with protests, but with virtually pressuring the government to change the way they act, change the way they get involucrated in the world, and in conclusion, revolutions are not just relics of the past. They are dynamic forces that change our present and future. From digital connectivity to civil acts and to modern work and old work. Thank you very much.
great job by Omar.
What's the point of view that you have about that time?
Well, I do think that revolutions change the world. People should speak out. People should start talking about what's currently happening, even more than they already do. But let's ask Omar a
Some
question.
question.
Yeah. So, Omar, very good speech, first of all. But we have a question. How do you think past revolutions have changed the world?
I think, for example, with the French Revolution, they have changed the world in a way that different countries have seen it, different states have seen it, and they started to change the way they act and how they treat their country and how they act in general.
True. Yeah. True.
With
Definitely.
evolutionary proposals, right?
So definitely throughout the years we've seen everything change thanks to revolutions, right? Well, great job, Omar. Thank you very much. You did a great job. But now we have another friend of the show, Matias Isak, with Nurtured in Barren Soil. Round of applause for him.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's funny that the last speech talked about civil rights movement and some progressive social movements, because today I want to talk about a fascinating trend. It's the increasing alignment of teenagers with right-wing political ideology. This shift may seem surprising. Why? Because of the association between youth and social progressive social movements. But there are several factors contributing to this growing phenomenon. First, um, consider the role of social media. Platforms like TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram often expose teenagers to diverse viewpoints. Also, they work as echo chambers and often amplify sensationalism, where right wing ideologies can gain a lot of traction. Influencers and content creators who promote conservative messages and can resonate a lot with young audiences, offering them a sense of community and identity. Second, there's a growing sense of disillusionment among young exposing among youth regarding the political status quo. Many teenagers feel that solutions proposed by the traditional left leaning parties are either ineffective or out of touch with the reality. Economic concerns, such as rising inflation and job insecurity, prompt a reconsideration of values. Right, right-wing values and right-wing narratives often emphasize around personal responsibility and economic freedom, appealing to teenagers looking for practical solutions. Moreover, issues of identity and and culture play a crucial role. Many teenagers reacting against what they perceive as political correctness or woke culture. They feel that conservative values champion free speech and the values of the traditional family, allowing them to express themselves without fear of backlash and creating a feeling of empowerment. Also, we can't forget that the educational system and the parental influence has a lot to do with how these teenagers are shaped with their political beliefs. I encourage you to look forward to knowing what you stand for. I don't think that I'm allowed to judge anyone based on their political views. I don't care if you're left leaning, I don't care if you're right leaning, but I want you to stand for what you think that you identify with. Thank you.
Well, Matias did a great job. It's truly, truly a complex topic he was talking about with a very unique title, and that's where I want to ask my question. Where did you get that title from? What inspired you to talk about this today?
Well, I got my title from Nurtured in Barren Soil. Nurtured being the youth being raised in an environment that amplifies those right wing values and those right wing feelings, like that empowerment, that sense that you can say anything without fear of backlash, those type.
Well, definitely. Nowadays, we have a lot of activists, right activists, left activists,
We
and
sure.
it's a complex topic, and it's very good that you talked about it today. Thank you, Matias.
Yeah,
You did a
thank
great
you.
job.
So now we have Emily Muñoz Perez with the talk title, The TikTok Generation and Political Humor. Let's give her a round of applause, please.
Morning, everyone. So, I want to talk about something very different this year. I think everyone here knows TikTok, right? So, in TikTok, we are used to be seeing people doing fun challenges and fun dances, but we can actually be learning about politics, social justice, and these important topics. So, we're used to we're used to see people doing really boring long debates and people doing these boring speeches that they're probably not interested in at all. And for future generations, they're probably not so interested in watching these because they're not engaged on watching these things. So in TikTok, we can actually be learning in a very different way. We can make fun at politicians. We can actually be talking about something funny, something humorous that our future generations will probably be interested in. In TikTok, we can gain millions of views just by uploading these videos that people will be more interested in about these topics. They'll be more engaged. They'll be happy about seeing these topics and probably be learning in a very different way. So remember, people, that TikTok is not just an app for entertainment. We can actually be learning in a very different way, in a very unique way, not just standing there hearing two long speeches and this boring stuff. Thank you.
Great job.
Wow.
Well, she talked about something that I was waiting people to mention.
Engagement.
Engage in TikTok, specifically TikTok. Like right now, it's an app taking over the world. It's good that people know how it works and know how they can use them to, I don't know, impact their lives positively
Yeah.
too, not only entertainment.
I also feel that TikTok, I agree with her. She was talking about learning. We could also
Definitely.
learn a lot in TikTok. So that was a really nice speech. Thank
Yes.
you.
So
for Emily.
now, sadly, we have to cut to another production break. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. And we're back again after our long but brief commercial break. Let's talk a little about again the presentations. They were
Yeah, that
truly
has been
inspiring.
through. I really
Yeah,
like the one that was about TikTok generation, how
definitely.
TikTok was a platform for learning as well. How about you? What was like the free like
Well, I have to agree with you in the TikTok aspect. I mean, TikTok is something that everybody uses these days,
Mhm.
and it's nice to know that we could use it for education. But a one that I thought it was very good was nurtured in barren soil, talking about right and left activism and stuff like that. Truly is very
about
remarkable.
free speech, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like people should learn more about that type of stuff because it's currently happening in the world with the elections and stuff. But let's cut it short. Let's go back to the speeches. The now we have Erika Marie Cruz with her talk title, "The Power of Youth: Leading Change Today, Not Tomorrow." Round of applause.
Did you know that 50% of the world's population is under the age of 30? That's over 3.8 billion people half the planet who are driving change, innovation, and the future. When we think of the word youth, we often associate it with something that will happen eventually. But the truth is, they're not influencing tomorrow, they're transforming today. Whether it is through technology, activism, culture, or entrepreneurship. Young people aren't just tech users, they're its creators. At 19, Mark Zuckerberg changed how we communicate with Facebook, and the same can be said for platforms like Snapchat and TikTok, which have transformed our daily lives. Young people's startups are solving big issues like climate change, mental health, and education access. They're not waiting for a change, they're creating it now. Beyond technology, youth are leading social movements with a sense of urgency. For instance, Emma Gonzalez became a prominent advocate for gun reform after the shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. They know that the decisions we make now will shape their future, and they're not sitting on distractions. From the rise of body positivity to mental health awareness, they're redefining our values and challenging the old ways. So, what does this all mean? It means that youth are the leaders of the present moment. And as a society, we must recognize and support this power because the world they want to live in, it's already here. Thank you.
Round of applause.
A lot of thoughts. I got speechless.
Definitely talking about again,
Empowering.
yeah, empowering how the youth has power through TikTok, social media,
An
and other
impactful
stuff.
message also.
Definitely. But now we have her here with a question.
First of all, how you doing? We're doing fine.
We're doing fine here presenting today. Uh, he has a question for you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so what immediate action do you suggest for young people wanting to lead change now? Oh, sorry, we have
Technical problem.
yeah.
They should
There
keep
you go.
spreading information through social media because that's the platform that everyone has, and it has been efficient since it has been launched. So keep spreading information through social media. Not only that, but activism and much more.
Yeah, we have a lot of ways to like do an impact, and I totally agree with you. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Great speech, Erica. Round of applause again. So now we go ahead with Emma Molina, who's gonna be talking about breaking chains.
Let's
round
give
of
it a
applause.
round of applause.
When I was a you want to know something about me? When I was a kid, I would do my morning routine in such a way where I would always get at least 30 minutes of TV time before going to school. And when I went back home, I would devote my afternoons to my favorite shows. I was kind of obsessed at the time. These days, I can't help but notice my brother is doing a similar thing. He watches YouTube all day, and when it's not on the big screen at home, it's on my parents' phone. But sure, changing kids' content isn't new, but still, I feel there's something a bit more sinister, which is brain rot. Brain rot to me is content that holds low value, is low quality, and it is just there to keep your attention. These videos are often animated and overstimulating, chain kids with oversaturated visuals, clickbaity thumbnails, and trending properties, all there to keep your attention. And they're very successful. They rank in millions of views and make insane amounts of money on advertising revenue. According to Popsters, the popular kids channel Ryan's World's annual income is $26 million. Something that concerns me is that the YouTube algorithm has a habit of confusing characters. So videos made for adults with the same characters as kids shows can still appear on platforms like YouTube Kids and YouTube Age Restricted. Another thing is that it's very difficult to discern where the videos in the sense of information are coming from. Who's posting them? A person, a bot, a troll? What are their motives? And we just leave these kids to their devices on these platforms. So it's like we're training them to click on the first link that comes along, regardless of the source, which doesn't really sound like a good idea. News Medical correlates YouTube use at younger ages with behavioral and emotional problems, poor thinking skills, delayed language skills, low attention spans and social skills, and even a higher risk of addiction. And the NIH also mentions that this changing content can also cause memory issues. Is it the fault of the kids? No. Kids are impressionable. They don't know any better. Is it the fault of the parents? Part of it is. While they can't monitor their kids 24/7, they have the responsibility of taking care of them, which means that they should be conscious of what their children watch. However, the biggest perpetrator in this is YouTube itself, because it hasn't successfully stopped this content from appearing to kids at all. It has a hands-off approach when it comes to saying, hey, it's not us, it's the channels, we're not involved in this. But still, there needs to be better AI implemented to sift through these videos and more and enforced quality focused practices installed onto kid content creators. YouTube should not be funding this sort of stuff. Overall, the current environment for kids on YouTube can be quite harming. So we must take a step back and look and break the chains that keep our kids glued to their screens. Thank you very much.
Great speech. Very
Great speech, right?
A very touching subject. I do think that in the recent years, people have been tied down to what is social media. And that's where my question, Emma, if you would like to, that's where I urge to ask you the question, like, what do you think kids and people that have that, that feel chained to brain rot, as you said, and different things, what should they do to break free from this?
I feel like having like some sort of like not fail safe, but like because like when you're especially when you're like addicted, you kind of try to justify it, and so having something else to do, like a task to do when you're like not when you're trying like not to do it,
Like a
and
hobby, right?
yeah, kind of like a hobby. So like that way you're preoccupied on that, and you don't have that like feeling of like, oh, I'm not doing anything. I might as well just do this and then go back on
Exactly.
that cycle. you know?
Something that will make you stop feeding yourself with this things that don't do anything in your
Yes.
life. So yeah, definitely, we loved your speech. You did a
Thank
great
you.
job, Emma. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day.
You too.
Another round of applause for Emma. But now we have another friend of the show, our marvelous friend Marco Christopher. He will be talking. He will be talking today about empowering change through the next generation. Another round of applause, please.
Our world is evolving faster than ever. With that comes a lot of challenges: climate change, inequality, and technology gaps. These are just a few, but guess what? The next generation is uniquely equipped to overcome them. They're digital natives, deeply connected with global issues and passionate about creating a better future. They bring fresh perspectives and innovate ideas. But how do we, as the current generation, empower them? First, by giving them the tools, education, mentorship, and opportunities. To lead, we need to foster environments where they can think creatively and act boldly. Changes will always exist, but the lessons we pass on, resilience, adaptability, and compassion, will help them not just to face these challenges, but to overcome them. The future is in their hands, and it's up to us to ensure they have the confidence to support to shape it.
Wow, how an amazing speech, right?
We had to keep professional during that speech, definitely. But we do have a question for you, Marco, if you could, about
Yeah,
your
please sit
awesome.
with us.
Yes, please. So, yeah, you have a very strong topic, very strong title. We'd like to know where you got that title from. What inspired you to make that title?
I don't know, just like the idea, like the challenges that they have the next generation and the consequences that that can have.
Well, we definitely, as the generation that's coming up, we do have a lot of challenges. But Marco, thank you very much. You did a great job. Have a great day, my buddy. Now we go to another great friend of the show, my personal friend, Mauro Hernandez, with his talk title, Revolution of Electric Cars. Round of applause.
Okay. We're living in a time of big changes in the car industry. Electric cars aren't just a thing of the future anymore. They're here, and they're growing fast. They're great for the environment, they're efficient, and they give us hope for a more sustainable world. But as we move full speed ahead with electric vehicles, we have to ask, what happens to all the gas-powered cars we have been using for decades? Electric cars are exciting, but traditional cars are part of our history. They're more just vehicles. They represent years of engineering, design, and culture. Millions of people around the world still rely on them, especially in places where their electric car infrastructure isn't ready yet. So how do we balance both? Both. We need to make sure that the shift to electric cars is smooth and fair for everyone. That means building charging stations, upgrading energy systems, and giving people incentives to switch to greener tech. But we also can't forget about the people and businesses that rely on traditional cars. For example, people that live in rural areas. We can't expect them to go electric if they don't have any type of infrastructure. Thanks.
Great job by Mauro. He definitely talked about a subject that it's
It's
very,
impacting
yeah,
the
like
word,
recent years we've been pushed by
the
people to
innovation.
change to electric cars. And me personally, being a car guy, I don't find that feasible. But Mauro, I have a question for you. What inspired you to talk about electric cars today?
I think it was important to people to know that we can't forget about traditional cars because I like them very much.
Well, I stand the same as you. Thank you very much, Mauro. You did a great job. Round of applause, please.
Now we have Sara Rojas with the talk title, Redefining Revolution, the Unstoppable Force of Youth Activism. Oh, sorry. We have Emil Novo, My Path in Revolutionized World. Let's give a round of applause, please.
Success. It's a word we hear about all the time. From the moment we were little, we were taught that being successful meant getting good grades in school, landing a stable job, achieving financial security, and climbing up the corporate ladder. But in a world that's constantly changing faster than we can keep up with, what if I told you that this definition of success just doesn't fit all of us anymore? For many people, the idea of sticking to one job for 40 years, collecting a pension, and then calling it a day just doesn't appeal or speak to us. For us, achieving financial security and achieving stability is important. However, we as a society need to redefine success to include flexibility, creativity, and other aspects of personal self fulfillment. Take, for example, my own journey. I'm on track to become a lawyer. Law is a career that is constantly associated with stability, prestige, and, well, success. But here's where I challenge this narrative. Of course, I want the money. Of course, I want the stability. But that's not all my job is to me. I don't want to work my life away just because it makes me money. I chose law because I want to have a positive impact on the world around me, whether that be in courtrooms, boardrooms, or even online, creating content about legal rights. What if I want to take my degree and transform it into something that can help social justice causes or balance it with other hobbies of mine like creative writing or public speaking? So let's circle back to that main topic. Choosing a career is not about following the status quo. Instead, it's about how it impacts you and the world around you. So, to my fellow students, peers, colleagues, and anyone else navigating the shifting landscape, I invite you to stop asking, what should success look like? And instead ask yourself, what does success look like for me? Because in a world that's constantly changing, we don't inherit success anymore, we create it. So, if there's one thing I want you to take away from today, it's that success is not about the destination, it's about the journey. And that journey is yours to create. Thank you.
Wow, very powerful speech.
Yeah,
very
very
important.
thoughtful.
Thank God we didn't skip him, or you skipped him, because he talked about a very interesting subject.
We would like to do you an interview, Emil.
First of all, great job. Emil.
Hi, thank you.
So, our question would be, what does success looks for you?
For me, success means being in a career that allows me to express myself and being in a career that allows me to be myself. I think that stability is important. I think that economic stability is important, but I also think that being free, not being restricted to one definition of success, is also important.
Like being passionate about it.
Being passionate about your job.
And we thank you bringing this subject to the table, because it's something that people overlook, definitely. They want money, but they don't think about the passion in their future. So we thank you bringing this subject to the Tech Talk. Great speech, Emil. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
A round of applause.
Now we have Sara Rojas with the tech title of Redefining Revolution, the Unstoppable Force of Youth Activism. Let's give it a round of applause, please.
Young people have always played a big role in creating change, and that's still true. Young activists are leading movement. Young they question the norms that older generation often accept, create thank you.
Well, round of applause.
Thank you, Sara. I think I got your message. It was very thoughtful.
Only from the title, it gives a strong sense of what she was trying to speak about. We definitely wanted to hear more from her, but let's cut it short and cut to the next person.
So now we have Abril Alfao with the tech title Revolution Prize of Freedom. Let's give her a round of applause, please.
Good morning. Justice. What is justice? Have we forgotten? Every day since humanity was created, we've fought and destroyed everything in our ways for dumb reasons. Land, gold, jewels, power. And those beginnings place us in the situation where a lot of people get their lives corrupted. And if you think about it for a second, that also places us in the situation, that also places us in our current state, being quiet and submissive when it comes to our expressing our own desires. Is it really necessary to do a protest to achieve what we want or what we need? Is it worth it? A lot of people say it's a waste of time, that it's something impulsive, that we young people are too ego-driven. But what most older people don't remember is that they were young once as well. Don't they remember when they were young, when they were silent as well? I guess they got used to being quiet and submissive, to being conformist. Young people nowadays are more determined to gain what they desire, to claim what we own, freedom and liberty of expression. We need to keep doing these changes, small changes that have a lot to do with ourselves, but also big changes that turn completely the way humanity thinks. Let's put it this way. Imagine you're a woman in the 1800s. You're not allowed to talk out of place, to vote, to study, or even marry whoever you want. Wouldn't you want someone to raise their voice for your rights? Wouldn't you do it yourself? Those changes, in this case, women's rights, are the ones that start shaping and molding the world we're living in right now. But we can't forget the amount of women that were imprisoned, harmed, or harassed by the authorities just to say, I can vote or I can study. There's also a worrying amount of people that have lost everything, have lost their lives, just to be able to one day say, I am free, we are free, my people and my land. Let's not be afraid. Fear is what keeps us silent and controlled by high-ranking people and organizations that wants to control the world as they please. Let's not be afraid of saying whatever we want or doing whatever we want as long as it doesn't hurt anybody. We have to respect each other. We're standing in the land where people fought and died. Their legacy is not lost. Their youth is not lost either. I encourage the older generations to join us as well. Let's keep it alive. Thank you.
Well, marvelous, marvelous speech. She definitely stand there, gave her opinion, empowering herself. It was very beautiful.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But now, Abril, if you will come forth, we have one question for you. After
So,
that powerful speech, great job.
yeah, so take the mic. So we would like to ask you, what can or has caused people to change?
In my opinion, I think people discovered that we can't be silent anymore. We have um, the rights to say whatever we want, to do whatever we please, to be free. For example, the example that I gave, the women to be able to vote or to speak when they want to do it. I think we've realized that, and yeah, that humans are equal.
Yeah.
Very powerful.
Thank you.
We love the way you stood there and talked about this subject. Thank you, Abril. You did a wonderful job. Another round of applause.
Good.
So now we go to Jade Soto with a very unique title, Youthquake. Round of applause.
Good morning. I'm here today to talk to you about something truly powerful, something that's shaking things up and changing our world. You, the youth. You're not just making waves, you're at the heart of a youth wave, an unstoppable force that's transforming society. And this isn't just a trend or a phase, it's a movement that has a real impact. For years, young people have been underestimated, but today, you're leading the change. You're not waiting for somebody to give you the permission to make things happen. You're actually taking it into your own hands and making it happen right now. Let's take a dive into how you're leading this revolution and why it's only just the beginning. For years, young people have been underestimated. But today, from the civil rights movements of the past to today global movements like Fridays for Future or Black Lives Matter, youth have been at the forefront. But today, thanks to social media, your reach is global. A single tweet, video, or post can spark movements, mobilize millions, and take action. You're not just raising awareness, you're actually shifting the conversation. You're connecting people across the globe and fighting for equality and justice in ways that previous generations can never have. When it comes to climate change, it's our generation that's taking the lead. You're not just waiting for somebody to take action, you're actually taking it into your own hands. We've taken the climate crisis and we're pushing for a more protected world where it's not only the planet that's going to be protected, but it's also going to be sustainable for more generations to come. And it's not just the environment. You're actually fighting for racial justice, gender equality, and mental health awareness. And you're doing it with energy, empathy, and purpose. You're laying down the foundation for meaningful, lasting change that will echo way beyond this generation. And the best part, you're not doing this alone. Young people all across the globe are connected, fighting together for shared causes. From climate action to social justice to tech innovations, young people have always been at the front. And you're fighting for a more equally and justice and more equally and resilient world where every voice matters. So keep pushing boundaries, keep asking yourself the tough questions, and keep fighting for a better future. Because this youth quake, it's only just getting started. Thank you.
Well, Jade, a great, great speech. You definitely have a very creative title. And that's
Yeah.
something that we want to ask you now when you approach the desk.
About, for example, what inspired you to like talk about this?
The topic is basically about how young people have always been like at the front and are doing like the most changes in comparison to like adult people because they actually have like the initiative to actually make changes, and because they have to worry about their future, because like old people have like already lived a lot, but young people, this is like only the beginning. So I feel like, as I mentioned in the title, like on the start of my speech, um, it's like a youth wave because of like an earthquake
Mentira.
that's shaking things up, and it's actually making a difference. It's actually making something that's going to be worth it, and it's going to be more valuable, and it's going to have to actually make a difference in the future. And it's not just like right now.
Well, definitely, we agree with you. We, the youth, have the power to make changes. Hade, great speech.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. But now we go to another of my personal friends, friend of the show. We go with Fabio Lopez and his tech title, Exploring the Political, Economical, and Social Changes.
Hi, I'm going to talk to the fight for Venezuelan and Cuban people. In a world where challenges abound, where injustice persists, and where freedoms are often threatened, we stand together in solidarity. I think that the new ideas for the young people is to create new governments with new ideas to advocate for the basic needs of human rights. It is essential that we champion the cause of those who are marginalized, those who are voiceless, and those who are in need of refuge and shelter, as we navigate the complexities of our time. This is why people like Venezuelans and Cubans deserve to have their rights fulfilled for the global good. Remember, knowledge will give you power, for character, respect. Thank you.
Great speech by Fabio.
I think his message was really impactful because hearing other points of view of how we could change the word's
Yes, and
perspective.
he
It's
does link economics, politics, social change with, yes, with the youth. And that's where my question comes from. How do you think the youth impacts economics and all that stuff?
Because they have new ideas and they have so much knowledge that the people that are behind there doesn't have. Thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you.
You did a great job, buddy.
That was a nice speech.
And now we go with Maria de Champs with women's rights change their perspective in society.
Let's give her a round of applause, please.
Imagine we were living in the 19th and the 20th century. Do we really think that women are so weak that they're unable to have a right to vote, either unable to have the right to study or work, or entitled not to have the same opportunity as men? Women have shown their capacity and how equal they are to men. Since Clara Campoamor managed to incorporate women's right to vote in the 1931 Constitution in the United States. Also, when Emmeline Pankhurst was the leader of the British suffrage movement and created the Women's Political and Social Union. And moreover, when Betty Friedman, who with her book The Feminine Mystique promoted the second wave of feminism. Because of the persistent inequality and struggle of many women, feminism was born. A political and social movement that seeks equality between men and women. The impact of women and their desire for equality in the society led the United Nations to incorporate gender equality as one of the Sustainable Development Goals for 2030 and 2015. Society has assigned specific roles to men and women based not only on the biological differences that clearly exist between them, but also from the traditions that have been created of each gender based on how they should behave, act, or dress. Through centuries, these patterns have been transmitted and reinforced, dragging them down to the present. Since we're children, we see in movies that men are usually the heroes of the movie and that the woman is the princess that must be saved by the prince. Expressing the definition of each role and also the way we express ourselves attributes to these stereotypes. When we apply a gender to things, saying things such as this is for men, this is for women, this is what women should do, this is what men should do. And as Conan O'Brien humorously said, men in a recent study
men said that they would like occasionally that women paid the check, right? But also the same study agreed that women said that they would like to be paid as much as men for doing the same job. For whether it's closing the wage gap or splitting the bill, we should create a world where everyone can succeed equally. Thank you.
A powerful speech
That was a nice speech too.
by Maria de Champs.
Today we have a lot of nice speeches,
Nice
right?
speeches. We haven't, and another one that we haven't touched that subject today about women rights that much.
Maria,
But
come.
now,
We would like to ask you a question.
great
Hi,
job.
how you doing?
Thank you.
We're really good. So the question would be, do you think the stereotype of men should change nowadays?
What do you mean by stereotype?
Like,
What we mean is like men paying bills, like the example you gave, that men are more powerful than women. So
Yeah,
that
I think that not all the households like paid things should be like all in men. I think it should be 50-50. And when, for example, when raising the kids and cleaning the home, it should be involving the men too, because I think that a home is based on the man and the woman. So you should be supporting in household and paying bills.
like a balance, right, between
Yeah,
men and women.
it should be a balance.
definitely should be a balance. Well, Maria, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank
You gave
you.
an awesome speech. But now we go with Gabriel Fernandez with his title, Arts as a Revolution. A round of applause.
Good afternoon. Imagine a world without music, without paintings, without dance or a written word. Pretty bleak, right? Now, imagine a world where arts are used as a means to change, for revolution. That's what I'm gonna be talking about today. I'm gonna be talking about how arts has been the longest way of revolution. Since the beginning of time, people have used music, arts to basically change the world. Imagine Banksy's street art, or Frida Kahlo, or even John Lennon's Imagine. It pushes people to challenge the status quo. People, when you think about revolutions, what do you think about? I can guarantee you think about violence, maybe wars, politics. And to be honest, I thought that too. When I heard the topic, I even told my teacher I wasn't gonna do the TED Talk because it's stupid for a teenager to be talking about revolutions. But with some encouragement, I found that arts has always been a way of revolution. And even though we might be teenagers, we still have a big part in that.
Great speech by Gabriel.
By Gabriel, right?
We
I
haven't
think we
seen anyone talk about arts, like how they portray themselves in arts
yeah,
today,
empowering art in the revolution nowadays.
of youth revolution. But Gabriel, we have a question for you. Great job, my friend. Really great. But we have a short question with you, and it's if you've ever found yourself in arts. Like, for example, like, have you ever found like a painting that you like that made you think, like, maybe I should change and stuff like that?
Yeah, you can see stuff every day that changes you. Especially in this country, where the streets, as I mentioned, Banksy's street art. Here, the streets are filled with street art. Beautiful, actually.
Yeah, so you definitely see that and you get impacted, and maybe a message could get to you so you could change. But Gabriel, thank you again. You did a wonderful speech, wonderful topic. A round of applause for Gabriel.
But
So
now,
we
now
go
to
back to a commercial break. Thank you very much. Stay tuned in.
Hello again. We're back.
We are back.
So we should do a reflection about some of the tech titles.
Yeah, very, very important. My favorite personally was the one about electric cars. Like, I'm a car guy. I feel the pain when they tell us that cars are gonna be
Electrical.
electric. So it truly breaks my heart. But that's part of the youth revolution,
It
right?
is what it is,
We
right?
have to change for the better of the world. But now let's go. Let's cut back to our speakers and our speeches. We go now with personal friend Axel Sider and his title, How the Youth Revolution Affects the Idea of Success. A round of applause.
Hi. What's your idea of success? Well, let me tell you that success can come in very different forms. For example, my personal success, well, my view of success is maybe being rich, having a great family, etc. But for example, for a friend that's judging me right now, idea of success might be growing up some hair. I don't know. I think that's impossible. But well, success itself was viewed in the late centuries as as being normal, having an ordinary life, doing some curricular job. But in that way of success, you didn't live life as it is. You used to work life. So, what's your idea of success when you think about success? Success doesn't have a meaning. Success may mean very different things. For example, um, maybe your idea of success, guys, is turning 18. That was my idea of success. But now I just want to turn to the golden ages. Success, as itself, it's very self-explanatory. Well, you want to be successful. You want to do something you like, enjoy it. Not working for obligation, but for joy. So I'm here to tell you that success, as the word says so, it's do something you like and enjoy your life because the path is the most beautiful thing. Thank you.
Great speech by.
I think this personal reflection was really
Really
powerful.
interesting. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, all of us want to be successful, don't we, Axel?
And we should also follow our passions, as he
We
said
do.
in his speech.
So, thank you for being here. Great speech, my
Thank you
friend.
for receiving me.
So, we wanted to ask you, how could I don't know people looking to be successful reach the goal of their success?
Well, reaching the goal to your success may come in very different things and aspects, as I already spoke, because it all depends to you. The word success doesn't have a special meaning. You are the one that gives the meaning to it. So it depends on what you like, what you want, what you lived so far to turn that idea of success.
Definitely. Every one of us has a different definition of success, don't we? So thank you very much, Axel.
Thank
Great
you,
speech.
Axel. That was a really
Round
nice
of
speech.
applause.
Round of applause.
Now we go to Ariana Garcia and her tech talk, My Personal Revolution. Applause.
What are the chances that the person sitting right next to you will fail? Go ahead, take a look at them. Will they get a job? Will they have any friends in 5 years? Will they make it in life? Will they even graduate school or get a career? To most people, success is the things that I just mentioned. But is that really the only thing there is to it? By definition, couldn't failure also mean not being able to get a product that you wanted in a store because they ran out, or missing out on a date because something came up, or even something as minimal as not having milk in the morning because when you wanted cereal? By definition, this is failure. To fail is to be unsuccessful at achieving one's goal. Whenever we hear the word fail, we tend to make it as this life altering event that will ruin someone's life. But when in reality, that isn't the only thing there is to it. We shouldn't see it in such a negative approach. Why can't it just be part of the process, an essential step in learning, growing, and achieving. Truth, truth be told, I didn't always see it that way. I used to think that every time I failed, I would be disappointing people and that I couldn't bear my mind through it. Whenever someone told me that it was okay to fail, that it shouldn't matter, that it would be fine, I would just take it out that they were just pitying me. This feeling creeped into every aspect of my life. The little things, the big things, everything. Even something as minimal as getting 3 points off in an assignment was enough to ruin my day. Because those 3 points off would mean that the teacher would think less of me and that their whole view of me would change. And it wasn't just that. It also bled through my relationships. Every time someone asked me to do them a favor, I couldn't bear the idea of saying no because that would also mean I would fail them. So I said yes, again, and again, and again. And that's how it was with everything. It was this constant chase of validation, a void that I had created myself, a hunger that no amount of success could ever satisfy. This had to change. Could I even change it? I wasn't sure when it happened, but from time to time it started to register that something in me had changed. Something had shifted. A revolution within me. Something I never quite expected. Little by little, failure by failure, I realized that I couldn't live my life like this anymore. I couldn't live with the constant fear of being good enough. I couldn't live like this. My personal revolution didn't happen overnight. It was slow, messy, and uncomfortable. But isn't every type of good change always like that? My revolution might not be as dramatic and loud as someone's mentioned today, but mine was still powerful, transformative, and extremely liberating. And it wasn't because I stopped failing, it's because I stopped fearing it. I was finally free. Free to fail, free to succeed, and most importantly, free to be myself. Thank you.
Great, inspiring, powerful speech by Ariana Garcia. Truly an amazing
I really
subject.
felt that her topic was something that everyone here has that.
Yeah, and
like
she
everyone
related
feels,
it to herself. Like
yeah.
she talked about how she advanced, how she evolved. But now, Ariana, we have a question for you.
Yeah.
So our question would be, how did you identify that problem that you were going through?
It's when it initially started affecting my relationships because especially like my friends and the people around me are people I value a lot. So when I started to see that me trying to be good for them was actually making me more bad than good, I realized that I had to make a change.
Well, definitely very important. It's good that you found yourself and made a change. But before we go to our friend, next speaker, Ian Vargas, we have to make a short switch with my friend Ariana. Your favorite host is going to make his speech now. So, Ariana, you take over.
¿Cómo es? Así.
Our next presenter will be Ian Alfonso Vargas with the TED title, The Two Faces of Social Media. Go ahead and give him a round of applause.
Good morning. Today I'm going to talk to you about the two faces of social media. I'm going to talk first from the positive one. It connects us with our families in the exterior. We can, have fun. We can distract ourselves when we're a little stressed. But in the other part, we often with social media we compare our lives to others, and that generates an insecurity and makes us feel alone. But I'm gonna talk about the part of social media with youth people. It's not like the older people talk about social media that is trash or something. In fact, it is something that us youth people use to, to start our business, to start making money and making, our point of view and let it know to the other people in social media. We share our interest in social media, so people, so people, can learn about. But the bad side of social media is the amount of people that it's not doing things well in social media. They are uh, insulting people. They are they're not letting people to do their business well. But I just want to talk about the part when the social media can help us, the youth people, to be powerful in the future when we with our, if you are young people and you want to do a business, you merchandise your thing in social media. Yeah, that's it. I just want to let you know that social media is not our enemy; it's our ally. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ian. Thank you, Ian. Honestly, that is something that all of us, the youth, really have to relate with because everyone uses social media nowadays. Now we'll have Ian to ask him a few questions. Here's your microphone. Okay, so one of our questions would be that what do you think are the benefits of social media?
I already said it that if you starting to with your business, you can people let them know what you're doing, and apart from that, if you're boring, social media makes you feel in a way it makes you feel happy, connect you with family, talk to people you don't have near to you.
Yeah, that is very important. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That was all. And now we'll have our next presenter, Richard Eduardo Damaso Batista, with
We have Jose Mendez Palamara with We Change Smart for Phone.
Sorry. A round of applause.
So, first of all, good morning. As my title states, I'm going to be talking about smartphones. Everybody has a smartphone. We both have a smartphone. I can see them in the table. The girls back there have a smartphone. Truly a revolutionary piece of technology. But were they too revolutionary? You see, did you know that the average person spends about 3 hours in their phone every day? That adds up to 50 days of the year where you're just staring into a screen. You may say, well, that's not a lot of time. But when you compare it, that you spend only 67 minutes a day eating, and maybe you spend even less time talking with your relatives and your let's say your parents, it's really a strong comparison. But I'm not here to judge how you use your time in your phones. I'm here to judge what you do when you're using your phones. As my title states, I think that cell phones have made us dumber. In the present, well, all of us do, when we're faced with a question, we no longer use our brains to think about what the answer and what we're going to say. We just go directly to our phones and just ask the question to Google or Siri about what we should do. This, at the end of the day, has a strong impact because we're not using our minds. Another problem is that when we use our phones to answer these questions, we're not actually learning. We're not actually interacting with what we're going to say. So mental, your brain just rejects that information and you're not really learning. So yes, in many ways, cell phones have made us dumber. In many ways, well, they are a marvelous piece of technology, but our reliance on them needs to change. We have one of the most powerful tools in our hand of the century, but we need to start using our brains and stop using smartphones, or else we're going to go to a place where we're just dumb. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Palamara. That was so amazing. Now we want to wait for you here to ask you some questions.
Really interesting topic. Not a way. Not everyone really talk about anything like that.
Good morning. We
I'm
wanted to
back.
ask you, do you think phones slow down our development as a society?
Well, what I was trying to say with my speech is that they don't slow us down at all, but we can use them as a tool to evolve as human beings. But in the recent years, topics, social media, and stuff like that have really subtracted to our thinking. And instead of progressing, we're regressing in the matter of learning stuff as we just rely on our phones. So we could use them as a tool to evolve, but people nowadays just want to use them as a negative thing. So yeah.
Thank you. That is
Thank
right.
you.
Well, now we actually do have Richard Eduardo Damaso Batista with Can a Teen Revolutionize the World Just by Using Social Media? Thank you. Give a round of applause.
Okay. Have you ever thought about how much power do you have by just having a phone? Well, maybe it might sound a bit too crazy, but let me tell you that it is not at all. Teens nowadays have the power to change the whole world just by using their phone, social media, and using social media. Platforms like TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it, have allow us to share our own ideas, communicate with others, and most important, make a difference in the world. We now can change the world by addressing more important issues like climate change, um, mental health, or even social justice. Like, as an example, Greta Thunberg. She started with a small strike in Sweden. Um, Her message, after she posted it online, spread around the whole world. That tells us that even one of us, the teens, could make a really big difference by just using social media. What makes social media so powerful is the fact that it is so easily to connect with others. We could make our own communities, work each other, like I said, share our own ideas, and all of that just with the power of social media. So, can a teenage really revolutionize the world by just using social media? Well, yes, of course. Actually, we are already leading movements and bringing more important attention to important causes. The real question is not whether we can, but how we choose to use social media to make a really big difference. Thank you.
That was great. Honestly, I don't really want to have any questions for this one. It's just this topic of social media is something that we have all seen throughout most TED speeches. So it's been really interesting to see how everyone altered their way out of it. Right now, we're going to have our next speaker, which is Lucia Arbelo. Give a round of applause. Hola. Oh. Well, while we wait for Lucia, we will want to ask. We want to talk to the public. You know, some of the things that we've talked about. It's like interesting how people tend to see topics in a different way. The youth and the revolution might be not a topic that everyone can right away relate to, but it's interesting to see how people can be creative with it and get different types of opinions, in this case, topics. So next
We'll have Sebastian Castro with his TED Talk, The Technological Revolution in Third World Countries. Give him a round of applause. That.
So, hello everyone. Today I want to talk about something that I'm really thoughtful about. That is the technology in third world countries. So currently, from outsiders, like not born in third world countries, they would think in the third world countries, do they have like advanced technology? Well, my question would be yes. We do actually. We can actually analyze critical data with the technology that we have. Something that it's very important to say is that imagine young people innovating with a solution. Imagine young people by saying that they want to do something for an impact and through also lead to a legacy that will stand through generations. We also are connected. We all connected because thanks to social media, we have that. We are not only through social media, but also we are connected by giving and expressing ourselves. If we silence ourselves by not saying our ideas, to standing out, to make what we want to say, to make an impact, to increase the leverage of development in our country, we can do it by that. So now I want to ask you, how can you do it? How can you stand out? How can you improve yourself? How can you not be conformist by just doing what everybody else is doing? Think about that because technology, it's a solution, it's a resource, it's everything that we have now and it's in our hands. So do and make an action, make an impact. Thank you.
Thank you, Sebastian. Thank you so much for talking about a topic that directly impacts us as a third world country. Now we want to have you here for a little round of questions.
Here's your microphone.
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good,
How are
Sebastian.
So now that you talked about the technical revolution in third world countries, I wanted to ask you specifically if you meant it directly in the Dominican Republic or just third world countries in general.
Yeah, I was talking about the DR because nowadays we do have a lot of technology. We use a lot of AI. We
Right.
use a lot of data that benefits us, and we could do an impact with that. Because not a lot of people outside the DR knows about that. So I wanted to shout it out. Thank you.
Very important for everyone to know. Who
Thank
knows
you,
who's
Seba.
watching. So thank you. It's
Great
great seeing
job.
you.
Next, we'll have Scarlett Cespedes with The Smoking and the Revolution.
A round of applause.
Imagine walking through a world where everyone is healthy, happy, and free. Sounds awesome, right? Today we're going to be exploring the fascinating yet troubling history of smoking and its lasting impact on our youth. The history of smoking has been a significant revolution with its impact on our youth being profound. The tobacco industry has evolved dramatically and has impacted our youth in a very negative way. Smoking was once glamorized in movies and advertising depicting it as a symbol of, of sophistication and freedom. Today, e-cigarettes and vaping have gained a great popularity amongst our teens due to their colorful packaging and exciting flavors and social media marketing. However, these products still deliver nicotine and come with a significant health risk that reflects on our future generation, and it can impact us in a very negative way on how we evolutionize as a society, because being healthy and having these health problems cause so much negative things in our health and really impact us. And when they're starting from such a young age, it's really hard for them to then, when they're older, have all these addictions, and we have then a larger problem in our society. Tobacco companies use marketing strategies and social media platforms to target our youth and young audience, but it's essential to engage with our youth and tell them to understand the long-term consequences of the impact of using these electric cigarettes and vaping. Active engagement helps teens recognize marketing tactics and distinguish between appealing images and actual harsh realities that come with vaping. In conclusion, the smoking revolution has transformed over the years, but its profound impact on on our youth remains. It's our collective responsibility to advocate and empower the youth to realize the negative impact that tobacco has and vaping has on them. Thank you.
Thank you, Scarlett. We would like to have you here for a few questions with such an interesting topic and way to see the topic youth in the revolution. Here's your microphone.
Hi.
Hi, Scarlett. How do you feel?
Oh, so good. It was so nice
Are
talking
you
about a
really?
topic that about a topic I'm actually really passionate about.
Why smoking?
Well, me, I go out, I go to parties, and I see all my friends doing like putting all these toxins in their lungs, and I feel so ashamed. It's something that is disgusting, and all the thing that you put in your lungs. Have you seen the videos of the
It's
lungs?
crazy.
It's crazy. It's disgusting.
Yeah, 100%.
Disgusting.
I feel so bad.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that I have to go through that.
Me too. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, now we have special thing, Lucia Arbelo, with no title. I wonder what it is. Give a round of applause.
Imagine waking up to a world where you can instantly connect with millions of people, share your thoughts, and rally support for causes you care about, all at the touch of a button. Sounds good, right? But what if I told you that the same tool that gives you a voice can also amplify misinformation, create division, and impact your mental health? Social media has undeniably empowered young voices, enabling movements like Black Lives Matter. Yet, it also spreads misinformation faster than the truth can catch up. First, let's look at the good side. Social media gives us a platform to express our thoughts and connect with people from all over the world. Young people are using platforms like TikTok and Instagram to spread awareness about important issues. It's empowering to know that we can share our voices to make a difference even from our phones. But we also have to face the not so great side of social media. Misinformation spreads, and it's easy to get caught up on it. One post can go viral for all the wrong reasons. Plus, the pressure to look perfect online can be overwhelming. So what can we do about it? First, let's focus on real connections. Sure, it's great to have online friends, but let's not forget about our friends right here in real life. Spending time together, having honest conversations, and supporting each other face to face is what really matters. In the end, social media can be a powerful tool for good, but it's up to us to use it wisely. Let's make use of its potential to inspire and connect while being aware of its pitfalls, making the internet a safer place. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucia. Good job. Now we have a little break, so we'll see you after recess.
Bye.
Bye.